Okay, fine, I'll review Spooky's House of Jumpscares, since you all want it so bad. You know, there are a lot of other lesser-known horror games I could be covering this week, like Tormentum or Guilt in the Shadow, but all you guys want is the popular one that everyone knows about. So fine, let's do it. Yeah. So for the past few weeks, there have been two specific horror games completely blowing up all over the internet. One of them is Five Nights at Freddy's 3, an incredibly boring game that's already come out 2 times before. And the other one is Spooky's House of Jumpscares, which you've all been asking me to review on Facebook and Twitter over and over again to no end. At first I didn't want to cover this game, partly because it's not really a hidden game anymore, and partly because of the name Spooky's House of Jumpscares. I kind of assumed this would be a joke game, which didn't really interest me all that much. And I also assumed it would be, joke game or not, completely loaded with jump scares, which also didn't interest me. See, despite how well adjusted I might seem, I actually hate jump scares. Not because they're lame, which they are, unless they're done right, which they never are, but because I'm sensitive to jump scares. Yeah, you'd never guess it about me, but yes, I hate jump scares. I hate them. They give me a heart attack.
You know what, jump scare Kirby? I've had it. I've had it. I swear to God I will burn this basement down to the depths of hell itself if you don't stop it right now.
So yeah, I don't really like talking about jump scares. And I don't really like talking about games littered with jump scares, because I like to think I'm more professional than that, and I rarely even get an opportunity to praise jump scares anyway. See SCP Containment Breach. But this game, Spooky's House of Jumpscares, is actually quite different. It isn't just a bunch of jump scares. It's more than that. A lot more, actually. Let's crawl into it, shall we? So at the beginning of the game, you the player are forced to enter a big spooky pixelated mansion, owned by a little floating ghost girl named Spooky.
Hello, I am Spooky, and this is my home. Can you, humble player, make it through 1,000 rooms? Can you find what lies at the end? Or is there even an end? Because I don't really know. Anyway, just go.
Yeah, there's the plot of the game right there. Very satisfying. So as stated by Spooky, your goal is simple. You have to walk through the house, making it through what sounds like 1,000 different rooms. And just as the title promises, the rooms are filled with, of course, jump scares. The stupidest jump scares you'll ever see in your life. At first, the game seems cute. You get jump scared and then you laugh at yourself for getting jump scared, and yeah, it's just cute. But then, later on, things start to feel a bit different. The atmosphere gets weirder, creepier, and you start to feel uneasy, like you're being followed, or like something very horrible is about to happen. Oh God, what is that? It's a monster! It's a monster and he's chasing me! It's Amnesia, it's Slenderman, it's Outlast, it's everything and it's coming to get me right now! Damn you, spooky pumpkin! Yeah, Spooky's House of Jumpscares may be cute at first, but it gets a lot more intense as it goes on. As you go deeper and deeper into the mansion, things get more real and dangerous. There are countless different monsters in the game that'll chase after you and try to kill you, and they get faster and creepier as the game goes on. It's kind of like a mix of a bunch of different horror games all rolled into one, and it actually does manage to be scary. If anything, it reminds me of SCP Containment Breach, and that's not a bad thing. It's basically Containment Breach with a cute cartoony style and a quirky sense of humor, and that alone gives it an identity. Warning, quite a few spoilers from here on out. Among the many monsters that'll come after you, there's a giant spider that can crawl around on the ceiling, a slow-moving slime monster that can float freely through the air, a spooky ghost girl that'll eat you and trap you inside her stomach, a faceless Silent Hill monster that distorts reality and changes the environment, and the list goes on. It's actually surprising how many monsters there are in this game. It's a pretty random, rapidly changing experience, without much continuity or consistent theming. But because of the gameplay and the simple, minimal graphics, it somehow works. game is incredibly simple. It's just room after room after room. You never know what the room will look like next or what'll be waiting inside it. Half the time, it feels like the game's just trolling you. One minute you'll be in an empty room with nothing out of the ordinary going on. The next minute you'll be in a big forest with killer deer monsters leaping out from the trees and trying to eat you alive. Sometimes Spooky will appear to taunt you along the way, and the stupid adorable jump scares never actually stop happening, which keeps the game feeling goofy and satirical the entire time. Oh, and let's not forget about the cute little hang in there poster. I approve. If I did have one big criticism of this game, and believe me, it's hard to even criticize a game that doesn't actually take itself seriously, I would say that it's a little not scary enough. I mean, don't get me wrong, this game is scary. It's totally tense, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat the entire time. But what I mean to say is, it feels like the game misses out on a lot of opportunities to be even scarier. I mean, most of the monsters aren't that threatening. They don't really do much of anything. Most of them just chase you around from one room to the next, and it's usually pretty damn easy to outrun them. At one point, you'll have a really scary, effective monster with a lot of thought and effort put into it. But then, at another point, you'll have something that just feels pointless. Take for instance the worm monster. At one point in the game, you reach a sci-fi setting that'll remind you vaguely of Alien or Dead Space. In this area, you hear noises coming from the air vents, and you start to think there might be a monster lurking inside. Eventually, the game actually makes you go inside the air vents, and it's fucking terrifying. Now this, right here, could have been a great build-up for some really terrifying horror. But what does it all build up to? The stupid worm monster, who chases you around in a way that's like no different from any other monster in the game. Compare this to the Merchant, arguably the game's scariest monster. The Merchant is a walking puppet man, designed almost entirely after the happy mask salesman from The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. And everything about him is perfect. The idea is perfect, the concept is perfect, and his build-up is perfect. Not only is the happy mask salesman an eerie, easily child-scarring thing to base a monster on, but the area leading up to him is fitting as can be. It's all Zelda-themed, with its own Zelda visuals and Zelda dungeon-sounding music. The Merchant himself is threatening, and a lot harder to deal with than half the other monsters in the game. He always spawns behind you, and he kills you if you aren't looking directly at him. Kinda like SCP-173. And if he does manage to kill you, this is what happens afterward.
Oh, will you look at that? Oh wait, you can't. Sorry.
But yeah, whether some parts of this game are scary or not, at the end of the day, I still can't criticize much, because this is Spooky's House of Jumpscares. It's a cool, clever, self-aware game with a ton of personality, and that's enough to make it good. It's got charm, it's got style, and it has so many scares and surprises that it manages to stay interesting from beginning to end. If there even is an end. I guess there are a lot of other things I could mention, like the minigames, the side characters, and all the bizarre places you find deep within the game. And there are also a few other things I could criticize, like the glitches that need to be fixed, the gameplay engine that's a bit unimmersive at times, and the fact that I get stuck on objects every 2 seconds. But you know what? I need to get on with Resident Evil month. I don't have time for this. I like this game, okay? It's awesome. It's great. Play it. Oh, and did I mention it's free to download? Yeah, without a doubt, basement worthy.
Spooky's House of Jumpscares. Like Mother always said, it's what's on the inside that counts.